Okay, now you guys have used determinants to solve a system with two variables. Now you're going to use these higher order determinants. You're going to use a similar algorithm to solve systems with three variables, and you could even go beyond that, but we're going to stick with three variables. Now the way you set these determinants up is nearly identical to how you did it with the second order determinants. So you might notice here that your denominator is made up of all your coefficients to your x, y's, and z's. Okay, do you notice that? There's 2, -1, -1, 3, 5, 1, 4, -3, 2. Your numerator is very similar, except you might notice that these x values are showing up, are dropping into the first column of your numerator. So you might guess that this is what x equals. Okay? Now for y will look similar, except the constants will be dropped in place of this column here. And for z, these constants will be dropped in for this column here. Denominator stays the same the entire time, which is why we're going to calculate the denominator first. Okay? There's a reason I have it all set up like this, and I'll explain it in a minute. The algorithm to solve these determinants, because they are bigger, you can't just do exactly what we did with the second order determinants. You put a line through the first column and the first row, and then you take this 2 and you multiply it by the determinant that's left. Okay? 5, 1, -3, 2. Alright? So this determinant, you know how to multiply this out. This is 5 times 2, which is 10, minus a -3. Now this is what this determinant equals, and we're going to multiply that by 2 when we're done. Now when we do that, we are going to get 26 for the answer for this. Okay, now hold your horses. I'm going to tell you what to do with that in a minute. When we come to this one, you notice I rewrote this determinant 3 times. You don't have to do that, but I think it just makes it a little bit easier when I'm explaining it. The second part of this algorithm is you mark through your first row and second column. And notice we have a -1 right here. That's what's going to go right here, -1. Then we're going to multiply by the determinant that's left. 3, 1, 4, 2. 3, 1, 4, 2. Boom. Okay? So now we've got -1 times the answer to this determinant, which is 3 times 2, 6, minus 1 times 4, which is 4. So this equals a -2. Okay? Same thing with this. Now maybe you could take a guess. What we're going to do is cross out the first row and the third column. You'll notice you have a -1 right here. That's what goes in front of your determinant that's left. 3, 5, 4, -3. Okay, so when you multiply this out, you get a -1 times a -9 minus 20. So when you multiply this all out, you're going to get 29. Okay, now what do you do with these numbers? What we did with a regular determinant was we subtracted. We multiplied and then we subtracted. Something similar. What you're going to do is you're going to subtract. You have 26. You're going to subtract. Subtract the -2, and then you're going to add the 29. So what this answer is going to look like is you're going to do 26 minus a, let me erase that, sorry, minus a -2 plus 29. And when you add all this together, you get 57, okay? So now you have to remember that because that is our denominator, okay? Okay, continuing on, I skipped ahead a little bit to kind of save some time on the video. So what I've done here is I've already set up our little mini matrices, or our little mini determinants. So I crossed out the first column and the first row, took the 7 and put it here, and then put my remaining numbers into the determinant. So if you were to multiply this out, it's going to be 7 times 10 minus a -3. Sorry, Mike. So that ends up being, when you multiply that out, a 91. Okay? And here, same thing, -1. We've got, sorry, this is supposed to be a 10. I didn't get my 0 written there. -10, 1, 4, 2. So this is going to be -20 minus 4. So when you multiply that out, you're going to get 24. And this one is going to be a -1 times a +30 minus 20. So when you multiply this out, you're going to get a -10. And then just like we did before, so what you do is you subtract and then you add. So we've got 91 minus 24 plus a -10. So when you add all this together, you get 57. Now you might recall that our denominator was also 57. So our numerator was 57, our denominator was 57, so 1 is our x value. So x equals 1, and that is the answer for this. Okay, now I want you guys to give this a try. Okay? Waiting on our next screen. You're going to try to calculate the y value of the determinant. So you're going to use this. I wrote the equation again here, and you're going to try to find the y value. Okay, so you have to just do one determinant and find the answer to this problem. Remember, 57 is your denominator. You just have to find the numerator. All right, this is the answer. So let's see if you can check and see if you got it right. We've got this is how you were to set up the determinant. You would see you would drop your constants in for the y, for the middle column here, and do your marking out of your first column and first row. Set up your determinants, your subdeterminants, I guess is what you can call them, and calculate each of these, subtract, add, and you should have gotten -114. So when you're all said and done, because 57 was our denominator, we had to figure that out, our y equals -2.